All right, so we're back again at Fox Gym Rotterdam for another episode for YouTube, and today we're gonna film a little bit of workout, and also we have an event, I Am Bodybuilding, that organizes events for charity. Yeah, we're supporting mental health for men. So yeah, always a good and strong charity to support, because yeah, that's a topic it's not quite talked about too much. So yeah, the crew, the I Am Bodybuilding crew, is arriving slowly but surely. I thought I was the only one, but yeah, they're gonna come right now. So let's go inside because it's raining, and see you there. All right, so we're testing out some new t-shirts for the Evolving Physique merch. As you see, long sleeve t-shirts. That's a hot topic in bodybuilding right now, as you know. So yeah, man, looks good. Logo in the center, letters on the back. Yeah. So these will be dropping out soon, and yeah, man, let you know. All right, so we're with my good friend B-Bark and organizer from I Am Bodybuilding. We go a few years back. We did a couple of competitions together. We went to Spain together for European Championships. We shared a room. He's a big snorer, so yes. He cuts trees in his sleep. And yeah, man.
Yes, I'm glad to be here with you.
Yeah,
with,
thank you.
My brother Jonathan. We are gonna have a great day today, and
good time.
Good time, and bring a lot of money to the charity.
Which charity again?
Movember.
Movember. Oh yes. I forgot my stash, but thank you. Okay, so we're gonna start off with a pullover machine, just to activate the lats a bit and to get the blood flowing. And yeah, I recommend, if you have a pullover machine in your gym, do it, because it's guaranteed big lats. So next up is chest supported unilateral pull down. Huh? All right, so if you do exercise like this, always make sure you get in line with the cable. Most of the people you see doing this, the cable comes from the center. And then what you do basically is you're pulling from this angle, but the best way to do it is get in line with the cable, as I just said. So the range of motion and pull point is from the cable into the hip. Instead of doing this, because then the bench is in the way. Come a bit to the other side, make sure the cable aligns, and then pull into the hip. So just for a size comparison, I'm going to show you just in a second how small Michael Musso is. Or I have to say how small I am. I'm sorry.
Come on.
Eentje. Lekker. Hey. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, easy. 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2, easy. 3, 4. Mooi. Lekker. Ben je in prep?
Nee? Wat kan die uitdenken? Nu niet.
Je bent gewoon altijd 5 weken uit.
Ja.
Moest ik ook alweer beginnen? Alright YouTube, welcome back to the 5th episode. Or is this the 6th? Excuse me, this is the 6th episode for YouTube. And today we're gonna discuss 5 most common mistakes made in peak week and backstage. And the first one is don't eat enough salt during your prep or in peak week. And the most common mistake you see is often people think you don't need to eat salt, but salt is one of the most important electrolytes in the body. And if you want to hydrate yourself, hydrate your muscles, fill your muscles with fluids and glycogen, you need to eat salt. As I said just now, salt is the most important electrolyte of the body to transport fluids and glycogen, glucose, into the muscles. So that's one of the most common mistakes you see. People think when you eat salt you're gonna hold fluids, and in a certain way that is true, but that's only true when you and as I said that's partly true, but that's mostly the case for people who don't eat salt for a long period of time and then re-enter salt in their diet. And what's happening then? The body needs to find homeostasis, and so you're gonna hold fluid because of that. And because of the body needs to find a new homeostasis, you're gonna hold the fluids, and to counter out everything, to balance everything, your body, I'm gonna repeat myself for the 3rd time, you need to retain the fluids. And when your body has a new homeostasis, everything will settle down, the fluids will leave your body, and then everything will be fine. But mostly, when people don't eat enough salt and they don't say it to their coach or they don't eat salt at all, what could happen is during the peak week, the coach says, okay, now we're going to up salt to start the dehydration process in the body. So you uptake the salt, you uptake the water intake, so the body starts to flush itself. And then what happens when the athlete didn't mention he didn't eat salt at all, or he didn't eat too much of it, then the body also will retain water. And then you have a big catastrophe. 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 And the body doesn't know what to do with all the fluids, all the salts, and then you're going to retain water as well. So communication on that part is very important. Always mention what you do. Also, when you have a good coach, he mentions how much salt you need to take right away from day one. And that's also a process that will be discussed on occasionally, because sometimes salt needs to go down, salt has to go up. So that's an important process in this whole prep thing. And one of the biggest mistakes people make, second biggest mistake, is they don't drink enough water. And as I said before, when you want to shuttle the glucose and the glycogen into the muscle, you need electrolytes and you need enough water. And most of the times what you see, people start to lower their water intake, but when they do, they still need to carb up. And when the water intake is too low and there's no water to transport the glycogen or the glucose and the glycogen doesn't have a transportation device to get into the muscle, so your muscle doesn't blow up in a way. So that's what we call the loading phase. So always make sure you drink enough water, especially in peak week, because then you got to carb up, and the carbs need to be high to load the muscle and to transport the glycogen into the muscle. So make sure you drink enough water. Don't be afraid to drink a lot of water. And when I say a lot of water, when you're a big guy, not as big as me, or maybe not as small as me, I don't know. But it is fairly common, you have to drink up to 7 or maybe 10 liters of water a day in peak week. So make sure you're on top of your water intake. Also, there are a few different strategies, obviously, but it's also possible that you're on stage day and you're still able to drink a lot of water. It depends on how shredded you are, how fully glycogen loaded you are. But the different strategies decide on what to do with water intake on competition day. But second reason, as I said, is they don't drink enough water. Third mistake, and that's also a big one, in line with the first two mistakes, is people don't carb up enough. And that means when the body is depleted of glycogen, you're low in energy, and you're ahead in peak week, that means when you're going to load up, the muscle needs to be rehydrated with fluids and glycogen. And that's what you do with loading phase. And that means when you're fully depleted, a muscle can hold up to 8 to 10 grams per kilo muscle mass on carbs. So that means when you're 100 kilos, you can eat up to 800 grams of carbohydrates for one carb up day. Depending on how many days you need to load, that's also, as I just said, the third biggest mistake. People don't eat enough. So that's the thumb rule. 8 to 10 grams of carbohydrates per kilo muscle mass is the thumb rule you can go with to make sure you eat enough carbs. But then the also important thing is you need to be shredded. If you're not shredded, if you're not depleted, there's no need for carbing up. You need to just diet further. Fourth mistake, and that's also a big one, and that's a common mistake people make backstage just before they hit the stage. They pump up too much and too early. Often you see people, they're a bit nervous, and obviously maybe it's your first competition, maybe it's your second, but yeah, you wanna present your best package, you wanna make sure the muscle is full and pumped up, but people tend to forget you also need to perform on stage. And when you pump up 20 minutes, 30 minutes before you go on, it's highly possible you'll be gassed out when you need to perform on stage. So what I always recommend, make sure you just pump up maybe 10 minutes before you go on stage. Do little push-ups, make sure you have a rubber band with you so you can do some delts, some biceps. And when the muscles are full, they are full, and you can maintain the fullness with just a little bit of push-ups. So make sure you don't gasp out too much with pumping up. Just do a little 10 minutes on my advice, and that would be enough. So you can also perform on stage. And the fifth mistake, that's also a big one, which I see happen a lot of times, is don't forget to enjoy the process. As I just said, maybe it's your first competition, your second. Everybody wants to win, everybody wants to do their best, but what you see happen is people tend to forget they are hopefully loving what they do, and that's bodybuilding, and that's doing a competition. So you learn from the mistakes I've made and I've seen people made backstage, and so you make sure, yeah, the process goes smoothly, you're carved up nicely, you're fed up with carbohydrates, and you're fully hydrated. All right, so these are the 5 mistakes and tips I would give you for maybe your first or next competition. Let me know what you think about it, or maybe also when you think or have seen other people make mistakes, let me know in the comments. And yeah, we'll address that too, maybe in the next video. All right, and maybe for the next video, let me know what you also like to see. For example, the best 5 exercises for push day or back day, or most common mistakes made in the gym. So if you have any idea, let me know in the comments, and then also we're gonna pick up on it and we'll address it in the next video.